I want to start off by saying that I really love research and that I'm really sorry that these are always late. But um, uh, what I do want to talk about with what I've learned in the research process, I think everything I've learned has been from um, both you, Becky, and Lisa so far. And then now I've started to branch off, but last semester it all came from you, and you've really gotten me excited about research and excited about the possibilities of what doing research can do. And so I think all of the research methods, I've learned a lot about that. And then I think I've learned that beyond our scope, there's even more, um, I guess, views, research views. And so um, seeing that and knowing that there are, getting terminology in my head is going to be really helpful for defining things. And I think that's one of the things that I need to work on. And so, but so like knowing a lot that there's different methods for different ways you can research and different types of processes and how you want to use your research to influence things makes me really think about my research and how I want to, and that's, I think, what's made me interested in research, is that it's not just sitting in a lab and saying, okay, well, now this molecule is present in this species. That's not interesting to me. Whereas someone else, like, yes, that gets them excited, but it doesn't for me. And like, that's why I'm really interested in economics, because behavioral economics has always been something that's like, wow, you can prove stuff with this, and then you can make decisions on it. And that's what, like, I think of with economics, is making decisions based on something, some sort of factually, well, some sort of research-based evidence is saying, okay, look at this graph, now we need to make a decision based on this. That's exciting. Making determinations, coming up with things, and finding new ways to do things always excites me. Or improving because of something, and that's what I want research to do, is improve something, improve a process, improve someone's um, living conditions, improve the way someone walks about the world, improve someone's happiness, improve things. And that's what research is to me. Like, that's improving something, changing something, making something better, helping someone, or helping yourself, helping things advance, and thinking in a different way from how we used to, say, challenging things. It's all part of that, and all of that, like, research can be done for that. Sometimes research frustrates me, because I feel like, oh, it's just someone who is doing this research to get their name on a paper, to say, oh, I've done this, and not really to improve things. And so if you can get research, and you can, for research, you should be trying to get your name on a paper so that someone will come find you, and someone will say, wow, I like this, how can we use this? Or someone will say, okay, this person has done a lot of stuff, let's see if they've done other things that I can build on. Like, that's what you want a name on a paper for. That's what I want a name on a paper for. Not to say, oh, yeah, I did that, yeah, I'm over it. That's not so exciting to me. I want to say, okay, yeah, I did that. Here's where I am now. Here's where that got me. Like, I grew from that. Like, this is why that's important. Was it, it might even be wrong now, and I might say, okay, yeah, I figured out, like, that wasn't exactly right, and now here's where I am. Or any of those things is a lot better than, yeah, I did that. It was cool. It was an experience. That's not helpful to me. And I think, like, making sure that I'm aware of where I want to go and what I want to do is going to help me be aware of, like, where I need to go and what I need to give people, so that those things will be reflected, so people will look for me, hopefully one day, for, like, and say, like, I have a problem with this, and your research really helped me process through that, and now I want to do my own research on that. And, like, what are your suggestions? Like, that would make me so happy. That's the sort of thing that I want to do with research. What surprises me about research? What surprises me about research is that there's so many different ways to do it, and some people don't accept your research in other fields, and they say, oh, well, That's an educational standpoint. We don't put much stock in that, and someone might be like, yeah, that's biology. That doesn't have an impact on social situations, or oh yeah, that's economics, but it's all theory. All of those things, I think, like I think some of that stems from the way we're taught. I feel like at Clemson here, it's like, oh, you're an engineer? Well, that's what you do. You do engineering, and you don't really worry about, oh, it's English. It doesn't matter. You're an engineer. You don't need to care about that. And for me, like, oh, it's engineering. I'm an econ major. Like, that doesn't affect me. English doesn't affect me. You know, psychology, maybe. Philosophy, probably not. But all of those things can impact the way I view economics and can improve how I use economics. Because economics without philosophy, without morality, certain things make sense. Like, yeah, you can make more money by exploiting others. Yeah. And if that's all you're looking at, then economics will prove that that's correct. It doesn't say whether that's good or bad, because economics doesn't make that determination. So without studying other things, then you are doing a disservice to everyone. And I think that's why research is important, and it's important to respect others' research as well. And so what topics am I interested in? I'm just always interested in new topics. I was thinking all sorts of things in class today about like what I would be interested in researching. And I've been really interested in researching income inequality recently, and how that impacts people, and that could have many impacts at Clemson. How income inequality affects students, how that affects our dialogues, how that affects all of these things. Retention rates, blah blah blah. But like a lot of those things, I think I like thinking about that, thinking about like what qualitative research would do, thinking about like how I can use research to make myself happier. Like how can I prove like what a better way to live is, and I think research can do that. But like aside from that, I always want to know like where people are coming from, why they do the certain things they do, how do I change their perspective, and how do I prove that how do I argue with research that when I say what grounds do I make my claims on? Why do I think marriage equality is important? Because it doesn't necessarily matter to me, because I'm with my identities, mine are affirmed. Like I'm gonna be fine. But why do I care? And I think it's more than just my friends. Like certainly many of my friends don't have that benefit, and that upsets me. But I think it's more than that. It's like I live in a world where things don't make sense. And why does it not make sense? Like there's reasons that like cognitively I can't wrap my mind around why someone doesn't have the same rights that I do based on identity, and then understanding that's a good thing. That like research could help do that. Research could say like why that's important. So I think that's really important to think about. There's just lots of questions. I'm always thinking about different things, but I've really enjoyed learning more about research, and I think this has really helped guide me on a different track. Like a lot of days recently I thought, well, I really want to be a professor so that I could focus on changing things that way. But I would want to be a part of implementation as well, because research without implementation to me seems it would be unfulfilling to me, and that's the problem I have with it. So yeah.